الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله يجتبي إليه من يشاء ويهدي إليه من ينيب. صدق الله العظيم. In this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have told us the rule of His hidayah. Who gets the hidayah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? A lot of time, people have this question that everything is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hand and everything is predestined by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If He wants, He can give the person hidayah. And if He doesn't give anyone hidayah, what can that person do? The amazing part is, for some reason this question is raised only regarding Islam, regarding Iman and regarding Hidayah. No one uses the same argument about the worldly gain, that everything is predestined. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, He will give us rizq. I don't have to go to work, I can just stay home. And if Allah wants, He will send it home. This is again the same thing as we were talking about yesterday, that dividing our deen into two, or dividing our life into two. Some for dunya and some for deen. So we consider this hidayah, Islam, Iman, these things are supposed to come directly from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everything is predestined, so Allah should, walayaz billah, Allah will do whatever He wants. And when it comes to our worldly gain, then I have to work for it. If we don't go to work, then who's going to earn? Where are we going to get the food from? How are we going to pay our bills? So we have divided this also. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very clearly says in Quran, Inna Allaha huwa al-Razzaq. Allah is the provider. He is the sustainer. Inna Allaha huwa al-Razzaq dhul quwwati al-mateen. Just as hidayah is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's hands, same way rizq is in Allah's hand. But when it comes to rizq, when it comes to our worldly gain, then we feel that I have to work for it. I have to do all of this. Some of the mashayikh have said that if we look into Quran, the message may be totally opposite of what normally people's behavior is. And that is, normally we work for dunya and we keep the hidayah and iman and all of these things, the work for akhirah, we keep it only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If He wants, He will make me do it. Whereas Quran's message is totally opposite for us, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when it comes to the worldly gain, He says, Inna Allah huwa al-Razzaq, wa ma min dabbatin fil ardi illa ala Allahi rizquha. That He's taking responsibility of feeding and providing with the needs to each and every creature of His. And when it comes to akhirah, He always says, work for it. And then, of course, this never means that we should never work for dunya. That is also something that is taught by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But again now, if we look in Quran al-Kareem, we will see the difference. That whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to work for dunya, He says work for it. But whenever He asks us to work for akhirah, He says haste towards working for akhirah. Compete with each other. Simple example in Surah Al-Jum'ah. إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. When the call is made on the day of Jum'ah, then rush towards the dhikr of Allah. فَاسْعَوْا, the word sa'i is used, which means run, rush, haste towards the dhikr of Allah. But in the next portion of the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that we are allowed to work on the day of Jum'ah. After Salatul Jum'ah, you're allowed to go back and do the work. فَإِذَا قُضِيَتِ الصَّلَاةِ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَابْتَغُوا مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ. The word ibtigha is used here. Seek the provision of Allah. Here we can, in the same ayah, we can see the clear difference. When it comes for akhirah, is'ad. When it comes to dunya, ibtaghu. Look for this and haste towards that. Rush towards that. وَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْآخِرَةِ. Whoever would really love his akhirah, he would like to build his akhirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, now this person's life should be وَسَعَى لَهَا سَعْيَهَا وَهُوَ مُؤْمِنٌ. And he puts his utmost effort for akhirah with his iman. Of course, if there is no iman, then any of these good deeds will not be of any help in the akhirah. وَسَعَى لَهَا سَعْيَهَا. The condition is, this person works very hard for akhirah. Sa'i for akhirah. So normal work for this dunya is enough. But for akhirah, a normal work is not enough. Normal effort is not enough. وَسَعَى لَهَا سَعْيَهَا. We have to put as much effort as we should be putting for akhirah. سَعَى لَهَا is not only just سَعَى لَهَا. سَعَى لَهَا سَعْيَهَا. Push the effort that is to be put for akhirah. How much effort do we need to put for that akhirah? How much effort do we need to put in order for us to earn the Jannah? Earn all the blessings of Allah that are in Jannah. How much effort do we need to put for that? وَسَعَى لَهَا سَعْيَهَا. Push the effort that is supposed to be put over there for akhirah. فَأُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ سَعْيُهُمْ مَشْكُورًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will surely respect their effort and will make it fruitful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again and again reminds us in Quran al-Kareem that we have to prepare for akhirah and we have to do our sa'i and we have to put as much effort as we can to prepare ourselves for akhirah. And we all know that it's really a long journey that we are going to. From the time the person is placed in his or in her grave until the day of judgment, wallahu alam, how many thousands or millions of years we will have to spend under the ground. And at that time, the ruh of the believers will be in Aliyyin, in a high place that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made especially for the comfort of the soul and of the ruh of the believers. كَلَّا إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْأَبْرَارِ لَفِي عِلِّيِّينَ. And the ruh and the soul of the disbelievers and the sinners will be in Sijjeen. إِنَّ كِتَابَ الْفُجَّارِ لَفِي سِجِّينَ. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu says is a place that is below everything that a human being can imagine. Somewhere below everything. And it's a place full of adhab and punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have prepared for the soul and the ruh of the disbelievers and anyone that will be going on the same direction of those kuffar. It's a very long journey that everyone will have to go through. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that with this short life, do whatever you can to prepare for your akhirah. This life is very short. Do whatever you can to prepare for akhirah. Put all of your effort, your energy, whatever you have, all the blessings that Allah has blessed you with, use them to prepare for your akhirah. Sometimes, when we have a project that is an Islamic project, say for example, we say we need $100,000 for the masjid. Some work is needed in the masjid and we will require $100,000. And announce it in the masjid. For the person who's announcing in favor, for everyone else that hears that announcement, it seems so difficult. $100,000? It's a big amount. I don't know if we can ever do it. Let's plan to travel overseas and to other places and approach some people. But in the very same community, we know that there are people who have houses that worth more than $1 million, or at least a house that worth a couple of $100,000. This is one person. With all of his responsibilities, he is able to come up with that money to buy the house. But the whole community together cannot bring $100,000. They cannot put $100,000 together for the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But each person individually, in addition to all of his responsibilities and his family and whatever else he has, he is able to come up with a couple of $100,000 and buy his house, and then buy his home, buy his car, and buy everything that he would like to have. Where the difference is coming from? Because all of our sa'i, our effort, is being put for dunya. We thought that this is our home. And accordingly, we kept on building our home. Once Harun al-Rashid asked someone that what is the reason we are afraid of death and we don't like to go to the akhirah? So that person replied, because you built your home in this dunya, so you know that you have a house here. But you did not build anything for akhirah. Therefore, you know once you go over there, you will be out on the street. You have nowhere to go. This is why you're afraid to go there. If you build your home in the akhirah, then you will be looking for what to go there. Really? And we know our situation, that if a person has home somewhere, then he's looking forward to go back. My home is there. Oh, I have a house over there. Don't worry about me. But if a person doesn't have a place to stay, then he will be afraid to go there. Not only this, when our hearts get attached to this dunya, as we are building everything only for dunya, hearts are attached with this dunya totally. Therefore, as soon as we even think about akhirah, there is some fear that goes through our mind. What am I going to do there? I have nothing. And at the same time, another fear that comes into the mind, what will happen to all of these things that I've worked so hard for? If we look at our lives, normally, I think, if we look back in the history, people around their 20s, 30s, they used to get settled with this life. Like, he has a family, he got married, he's starting having children, he has a house, and he's settled. Nowadays, normally people get settled in their 60s and 70s. Now all the mortgage is being paid and he's ready to retire. That is the time when normally people plan for. Now, at that time, then I will have some time for my family and for myself. So at that time, by the time the person retired, and he feels that now I can enjoy everything that I have done, and I have things that I have settled and I have earned and I have owned, now I can start enjoying that. All of a sudden when he sees the angel of death, he feels so bad that I was just ready to use these things now, and you're telling me that it's time for me to go. I haven't used these things in reality. Up to now, his house was a motel for him. This is the situation for most of the people. House is nothing more than a motel. Go at night time, spend the night, early morning, leave home, set your alarm so that no robbers will come and pick up anything from there. Because no one is going to be in the house. Everyone is going to leave the house. House is empty. Sometimes when people from overseas come and they see the houses here, and then they talk to us, in America, here we see beautiful houses. So I tell people, when I hear these things, these type of statements, I tell them, you can never have this type of house. Just forget about it. Don't even look up to this. These houses, they are normally empty houses. These are only motels for them. So they come in the evening. The time that they spend outside of the house is more than the time they spend inside the house. It's whether they're themselves, their wives, their children, everyone. They're more outside of the house than they're inside the house. If you settle your house the way you see this house, and you look at it, oh, it's so beautiful, I wish my house would be like this, you will never be able to handle it. The reason is, because your family, your children are going to be living in the house, children are playing in the house, oh, don't break this, don't touch this, don't run around these things. And you know what it happens with us? Natural people are trying to control their children. They put all of these beautiful things and they try to settle these things there, and now children are breaking this thing. It never works with us because we stay in the house. Those things are only for those who don't stay in the house. So now children are with their babysitters, so they will come in the evening tired, they will go to sleep early morning, wake them up, hand them over to the babysitter. They're gone. So all of these things, they just come with the whole system. A person gets so impressed. Yes, here you see some nice dresses and everything. He comes to the masjid, he can't even do the sajda anymore. So these things, it's a whole system that we can never go with it if we keep what we have. So this dunya, it always pulls us towards itself. And people consider this to be their home. And really, as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min wa jannatul kafir." This dunya is a prison for a believer and a paradise for a kafir. This is their whole Jannah. Any ni'mah you want to use, just use it here. You are not getting anything once you leave here. And the person knows this. The least is, we see the majority of the people out there, they don't believe that there is any life after this. They have no concept of it. So if this is the truth, if this is the reality, then of course, let's enjoy it as much as you can. Use whatever you can. Because this is the end of it. This is everything you can get. There is nothing after this that your person is going to get. But if we go with the realities that have been mentioned in Quran and Hadith, then this is nothing. This is only a place, as it has been mentioned in some of the narrations, Darul Amal, that this is only a place of work. We are being placed in the factory right now. You are at your workplace. Right now we are not at the place where we are going to get the reward or we are going to get paid for it. We are not looking forward for the payment right now. All we are supposed to do here is just work. At the end of the day, when your work is done, then you will get everything, you will get paid for all of this work, and that is as soon as the person goes to the real sleep in his grave. That's the time when a mu'min is told that you have been so tired. Go to sleep. We've seen the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, a mu'min is told, go to sleep. Why? He had been working so hard. Go to rest now. And a window from the Jannah is being opened for him in the grave, that keep on getting the breeze of the Jannah and have a good rest. We will wake you up when the day of judgment would come. Al-mu'minu yamut bi'araq al-jabin. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, a mu'min when he dies, he still has a sweat on his forehead. One of the meaning of the hadith is that at the time of death, up to the last moment of his life, mu'min is working for his akhirah. He can't do nothing, at least his tongue is moving with the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now he can't even move his tongue. In his mind, he's remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In his heart, he's doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Till the last moment, a mu'min is working for his akhirah. This is the place of work. This is Darul Amal. This is not the place where we should be looking for the reward for our work. I did so much. For last 20 years, I have been doing my salah, and I don't know why I still have to go through hardships. This is not the place of getting the reward, of getting paid. We were not praying for the last 20 years so that we can get a house over here. Or I can get rid of some of these situations. We had been praying to get the pleasure of Allah, and pleasure of Allah means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us a place in akhirah that will be a sign of His pleasure. He will keep us very close to Him, and He will give us the permission to be able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this dunya, as it pulls us towards itself, and this is the effect of the dunya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have put some effect in everything. You know, in worldly things, we see so much effect. These medicines that we are using on daily basis. What is all of this? These are effects that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have put in these plants, in these animals. That when you abstract things from these animals and you use them, this is the effect that you see. Sometimes they make some strong chemicals. What are all of these chemicals from? These are all worldly things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have put effect in these things. All the time we are using our cars, we are using machinery, and we see that the gas is being used in the car. Gas that looks like a liquid, Allah has put power in it, this is the effect, has put the power in it that it can drive the engine and can drive these huge engines. What is all of this? This is the effect. And we see these effects in these small things. The whole world itself has some effect. And the effect of it is to pull people towards itself. It has a magnet. Just like we know that physically there is something that is holding us, the gravity, that keeps us on the ground, otherwise we will be flying. Just as physically that thing is there, spiritually this world has an effect of pulling people towards itself. It keeps on pulling us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in the hadith, إِنَّمَا مَثَلِي وَمَثَلُكُمْ كَمَثَلِ رَجُلٍ أَوْقَدَ نَارًا. My example with you people is just like a person who puts on a fire. When he puts on this fire, he's in the jungle, so all the insects, flies, butterflies, they all love the light, and therefore they rush, they come towards this light. They see fire, they see the fire over there, they all come towards it. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, as all of these insects are coming towards the fire, this person, out of his kindness, he's stopping them from getting into the fire. No, don't get into the fire. But we know that these flies, they keep on coming back and forth. They'll just take a U-turn and come back. And let make them go away, they'll take a U-turn and come back. They would like to get into that fire, thinking that this is light. This is what they think, this is light. They don't know that this is going to take their life. They think that this is a good light, and they love the light. They have seen light in the darkness of the night. Let's go over there. Let's enjoy that light. Let's go and sit on it. They try to sit on it and burn themselves. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, this is how this dunya is. It's showing you light everywhere. And you feel, this is a beauty here. Let me go and use it. Let me go and take it. Let me have it. Let me go and sit over there. And I'm telling you that this is not light. This is fire. As soon as you go over there, that's going to burn you. This thing is going to burn you. فَأَنَا آخِذٌ بِحُجُزِكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَقَحَّمُونَ فِيهَا. I'm holding your back. That this is fire. Ibadallah, this is fire. This is not a light as you think. But you feel that no, I know better, I know what this is, and I would like to go and enjoy myself. I would like to go and spend some time there. You go and sit over there and you burn yourself. In another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, حُفَّتِ الْجَنَّةُ بِالْمَكَارِهِ وَحُفَّتِ النَّارُ بِالشَّهَوَاتِ. Jannah is surrounded with hardships. And Jahannam is surrounded with desires. A person keeps on following desire upon desire upon desire. Finally he ends up getting into the Jahannam and he doesn't even realize until he falls down there into the Jahannam. These hardships and desires, inshallah, some other time we will talk about them. But the point I was mentioning, this is the effect of the dunya. That it pulls people towards itself. And tries to show its beauty. This is effect. We need to understand that it's not only something that we think that imagination, that okay, it may happen. No, this is the real effect of it. Just like there is some effect in the fire. If you touch it, it's going to burn. Some effect in the eyes, some effect in all of these medicines and the chemicals. All of these are worldly things. Similarly, this world has an effect. And the effect is pulling the hearts towards itself. In spite of having the teachings of Anbiya alayhim as-salatu was-salam, and people understanding the importance of religion, what makes people still run away from religion and run after this dunya? This is the effect of the dunya that is being seen there. And the only way to fight it is through the teachings of Anbiya alayhim as-salatu was-salam. Anbiya alayhim as-salatu was-salam will teach us how to fight this effect and what to bring in order so that we have something that is more effective than this dunya. We have to have something that is stronger than this dunya and has a stronger effect than the effect of this dunya. We have two magnets. You put them at a close distance, they will quickly run and get together. Now you put a very thin paper in between them, still they may just get together. And the paper is still in between them. But you put something very thick in between them. Now, that magnet, that power does not go through it. And therefore, they will not be able to see each other. They will not get into each other. Same thing. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught us the things that will have a stronger effect on our life than the effect of this dunya. That will keep our heart from being affected by this dunya. If those things are not there, if these chemicals are not being applied on our hearts, then dunya will pull it for sure. We have to apply those chemicals provided by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam into our heart, so that our heart will not be pulled by this dunya. Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, they understood this lesson. It's a small lesson to understand. Just realizing and understanding that this dunya has its effect. And it will affect us. If we won't fight it, if we won't prepare ourselves to protect ourselves against it, if we are not going to apply the right chemicals on our heart, it's going to affect us for sure. Because our heart is made from dust. It came from this dunya. It will be affected for sure. The whole body came from this dunya. So it will be affected for sure. Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een, when they saw this, they got so much of this chemical and applied it so nicely over themselves that now nothing of this dunya was able to attract them. Nothing was able to attract Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'een. Just think of the strongest attraction of this dunya. And then you look at the life of Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, you will see it had no importance whatsoever. It didn't play no role in their lives of making them do anything. Abdullah ibn Huzafa as-Sahmi radiyallahu anhu. He was captured by the Romans along with 6 Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in. So all together 7 Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, they were captured by the Romans. He was a Sahabi and rest of them were Tabi'een. The rulers knew the importance of Sahaba in this ummah. So he thought that this is a great opportunity for us. Now we will do whatever we can, use all of our forces to turn a Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam away from his deen. And they really put all of their forces, strength, abilities, whatever you may call it, whatever they had, they used it to turn this one person, the superpower of the time, is using all of their strength, their power, everything they have, all their resources, to turn this one man away from his faith, from his belief, and they could not do it. To the extent, they made him stay in a room for 3 days, no food, no drink, nothing to eat, nothing to drink. After 3 days, they presented pork and alcohol to him. And of course, they told him, because they wanted to at least, now the least is, they will make fun of the Muslims, of Sahaba, that we made a Sahabi eat haram. After 3 days, when these things were presented to him, he would not even touch it. They left him for a few more days, and he would not touch it. Now they're afraid he may die, and they don't want him to die. Because they're losing. It's their loss if he would die with his iman. So the ruler called him, and he said, how come you're not eating? Abdullah radiyallahu anhu said, because these things are forbidden in our deen. He says, I know that, but your deen also says, إِلَّا مَقْتُرِرْتُمْ إِلَيْهِ. When you are forced to it, when you have no choice, when you have nothing else to eat, just like many people would say nowadays, say Bismillah and eat. For how long I'm going to eat vegetables? This is the question. Nowadays the question is not that I don't have food. We have been eating vegetables for the last 2 days now. It has been 2 days I didn't eat meat. Say Bismillah and eat. You are forced to it. So Abdullah radiallahu anhu said, the king said to him, or the ruler, whoever he was, that Quran allows you. In fact, you should eat, because if you die in this situation, that is not allowed according to your deen. You are killing yourself. Abdullah radiallahu anhu said, don't teach me my deen. I know my deen. I know that I'm allowed not to eat. In fact, at this time, I have decided that I will never touch anything haram. I will not eat it. Because he knew at this time is not only a matter of saving his life, it's a matter of saving the honor of Iman. These people would like to make fun of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and of Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, that we made a Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam do something like this. So it's not a matter of just a life right now. It's much beyond this. And therefore, I will not touch this. They would like him to survive, and now they are going to use other methods, so they provided him with food. And now they give him a lot of food. After that, they send some women to him. And they kept on trying with Abdullah also for 3 days. And after 3 days, they go back and they say, it looks like this man is blind. This is mainly the portion that I wanted to narrate, or at least I would pause here to remind ourselves that these Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, they applied that chemical that they got from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Nothing was able to take them away from their iman, from their deen. This is the chemical that they got. This is what they got from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That incident continues with Abdullah bin Huzafa radiyallahu anhu, and they tried now scaring him, and they tried many different things. But at this time, as I said, the lesson we are getting here from the life of Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, that for these Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in, nothing of this world was attractive anymore. More than, of course, it's not that they didn't like anything. Nothing was more attractive than the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Deen was always a priority. Their religion, their deen, the pleasure of Allah was always the priority. And that was the greatest attraction for them. Anything that they would know would please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this dunya has an effect. And the effect of the dunya is pulling people towards itself. And it keeps on pulling us. We always see that it keeps on pulling us. And it really pulls very hard. It's not easy to stay away. Very simple thing. I know my situation, this is why I'm saying it, and I don't know how many more people or everyone is in the similar situation, that every day, especially in Ramadan, we think, I will eat less. Today, I'm not going to eat that much. I'm going to reduce the amount of food. And then, the food comes in front of us. This is a small portion of dunya. Let me just try a little bit of this. It's so tasty. And you know what? Yesterday I ate it and never nothing happened. I can eat a little more. I think I'll reduce it at the end of Ramadan. This little dunya we are not able to fight. This is the effect. This is the attraction. This is why when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was talking about Dajjal, and he said Dajjal will be using this dunya to attract people, normally we will say, okay, that's fine. If he would use dunya, I will take care of it. One of the Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim ajma'in started weeping. So he was asked, what happened? He said, if Dajjal will use this dunya to attract us, I'm afraid of myself. This is a Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says, now I'm afraid. If Dajjal will be using dunya. And then he says, that is because sometime when I get hungry, when I'm very hungry, and I go home, and I'm doing my salah, my wife prepares the food, I feel like breaking the salah and going to the food. This is the attraction of just one bread. When I have just one bread at my home, I feel like breaking the salah and eating that food. Imagine when the Dajjal will show me so much of the dunya and I'm in need of it. What will happen to me at that time? So this dunya has that effect. And we need to prepare ourselves. And the fitnas of the Dajjal are just coming day by day. We need to protect ourselves against these fitnas. And that is by using the medicine provided by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Inshallah, we will talk in detail about those medicines that are provided, those adhkar, those ibadah, those things that have an effect of protecting us against all of these things, and that will protect us against the effect of this dunya. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to always hold strongly to our deen and iman and our faith. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always keep us this iman until the day we face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with this iman. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله.